Well, here we are at Supernova 2023. It's Scooby Doo, and I love all the geekish fans. Scooby Doo Doo! Being the voice of Scooby Doo, it's going to be quite unusual to have an Australian accent coming out of my mouth. You'd expect to be a US performer, but I was actually born in Brisbane, and I lived for 33 years on the Gold Coast, and that was where they filmed Scooby Doo 1, which is how I have an Australian accent. So yeah, lived here all my life, and yeah, I'm an Aussie. Like everybody, I'd come home from school and watch the afternoon cartoons and Saturday morning cartoons, and it was all Hanna-Barbera and Looney Tunes essentially back then. So Scooby Doo was obviously a favourite of mine, but it was also Wacky Races and all the Looney Tunes, Speedy Gonzales and Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd and all those great cartoons that were so iconic back then. And yeah, I discovered from a very early age I was mimicking the voices that I could do in my falsetto voice back then, and discovered that I really enjoyed the characters and what they were doing, and I was pretty good at doing a big range of voices in the end, and so that sort of led me to having a love for my acting career. So I started as an actor and then became a stuntman and then a voice artist during that time. Yes, so I was a pre-opening performer. So while the movie was still being constructed, I started during rehearsals, and I was they needed 4 guys and 4 girls to be the actors and the acting pool to perform the street shows, robbing the Bonnie and Clyde Bank every day 6 times, and doing all sorts of gangster shows and all sorts of shows. And then we also did the acting roles in the Police Academy stunt show, and then so yeah, it was pre-opening. And I did show number 1 of Police Academy Stunt Show, and that was amazing the opening day, because back then Warner Brothers wanted to compete with Disney. They wanted Warner Brothers movie worlds to be Disneylands all around the world, and so they pumped a lot of money in and had their big stars attend the opening day. So show number 1, I had in the audience was Clint Eastwood, Mel Gibson, Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell, all the Australian stars, Elle Macpherson, everyone you can think of at the time. And it was pretty nerve-wracking, but we got through the first day, and Police Academy Stunt Show was supposed to go for 18 months, and it went for 18 years. So it was the flagship of the park, most highly rated show from the moment it opened to the moment it closed in 2008. So yeah, I stayed there personally for 14 and a half years, and in and around working in film and TV, because the studios were just getting going then, and next door at Warner Brothers. And then I went back recently and drove in the Hollywood Stunt Driver show there for 3 years, and ran the show for a bit. So yeah, theme parks have been a big part of my life, and great family of performers that have gone on and become Australia's supreme, stunt coordinators, actors, dancers, singers, stuntmen and women in the country. So it was a really good training ground for all of us to have long and successful careers. As I say, I was working at Movie World at the time, and one of our other actors in the acting pool, Jennifer Congram, she got the opportunity to be a voice director, because back then there was some TV series like Beastmaster with Heath Ledger, Lost World, Space. They were all being filmed at the Warner Brothers Studios for Coot Hayes Productions, and they needed the voice ADR recorders, background actors to be voiced, background, you need a lot of bed of voices in a show, and this is post-production. So I got the opportunity to come along and start to be a voice actor in a studio and work with other voice actors to start to fill out the show from a sound point of view. Because on set, all the extras, they're miming. And so you can't have people miming, you've got to voice them. So that happens, a lot of work goes into it, putting together a movie, a TV show. So that's why I started doing that. And then Scooby Doo came along and was going to film the Scooby Doo 1 at the Warner Brothers Studios in 2001. And they asked the current Scooby Doo cartoon voice actor, who only did a few cartoons, do you want to come out to Australia? We're going to do a live action film, but we need someone to bring the character to the set. So you'll actually be delivering Scooby's lines on set, and we'll be recording you for guide track and so on, acting the role on set to the actors. Because if you're Shaggy and you're talking to me, and it's just an X if I'm not here. And so he said, for whatever reason, he said, no, I'll just do the final cut. And they were like, oh, okay, well, we'll find a local. So every voice actor in Australia auditioned for that role, and that was the one I got. And then that was just an opportunity, because I went on set and delivered the dialogue. Every day Scooby was called to the set, that was me. And I delivered the lines and the dialogue, acted the role to Matthew Lillard, all the cast. And I really liked, I ended up reading Scrappy Doo as well on the show, Ghosts. I read all the voices on the show. And at the end they said, oh look, we really love what you've done, but we did promise it, well, we said this guy was going to do it, so we'll fly him out from LA. And they flew him out to the Gold Coast and we had a voice off. He put down his version of the film, I put down mine, and they flew back to LA and said, we'll call you. And about 5 weeks later, my agent called and said, guess what, they've gone with you. So yeah, it's just an opportunity that was knocking. You work hard, turn up early, be nice, all those things, and put your best foot forward, and yeah, just all worked out well. All the cast, Mary Vanu did a fantastic casting job to find Matthew Lillard as Shaggy. Absolutely nailed it. I don't think anyone else could have done that role at the time. He got the voice bang on, and then Sarah and Freddie, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Pinchot, Sarah was huge at the time. She was just finishing the last series of Buffy, and that was the biggest show in the world at the time. So we're actually shooting around her. She'd fly in, and we'd film for 2 weeks on Scooby Doo, and then she'd fly back to the States and finish off what she was doing on Buffy and fly back out. And that happened for about 6 weeks, and then she wrapped on Buffy and came out to Australia for the rest, because we shot Scooby Doo for 5 months on the Gold Coast and Brisbane, all around. But yeah, the whole cast, Linda Cardellini, Rowan Atkinson, I mean, legendary performer. So I had the opportunity to work with him. We were the only actors called for a whole day in the office scene, where he says, I want you to be a sacrifice. Rice. That day, that scene. And then, got to work with some amazing people. Isla Fisher, and she was Mary Jane. Look, great casting. And then go on to the second one, Alicia Silverstone, Seth Green, all these great performers at the time that were just fantastic. And the great thing was that we all stuck to, well, I'm really pleased that all the cast were available to go from Scooby Doo 1 to 2, because sometimes with filming they're not available perhaps, and they don't want to do it, I don't know. But we did, the 5 of us went on to the second one, and we all sort of feel that the second movie is a better movie in a lot of ways. We did learn a lot on the first one, which you hope you should. So yeah, amazing to work with all these guys, and this is the gift that keeps on giving for me. No one knows who I am, and then I open my mouth and do Rags, Raggy, Rarunster, and smiles. That's what it's about for me, and that's why I love coming to Supernovas. Smiles on the fans' faces, amazing, as they're waiting to come and see me. So it's just it's a joyful thing to do. look, it's a lot of these things are out of our control and what we think. Obviously, they're looking at the numbers. So, Scooby Doo 1 premiered at Man's Chinese Theatre on Sunset Boulevard, which I was at, which was incredible. We premiered at $56 million in the opening weekend, which is still a Warner Brothers record for a box office opening for June in their history. Yeah, it was a big one. It was a really big opening movie at the time. So we went on to make, I don't know, 500 million. I'm not sure exact figures, but it was massive. So before I flew back to Australia, I already knew that they'd already greenlit Scooby Doo 2 with an option for Scooby 3. So we did Scooby Doo 2. And Scooby Doo 2, numbers-wise, did about half what Scooby 1 did. So it wasn't quite enough for them to go on to a third. It was a 3-year option, but they were doing other things too. A little movie called Harry Potter was in the works, and these were tentpole films for Warner Brothers. You know, they have certain 3 or 4 tentpole movies that are going to prop up the whole studio. Scooby Doo was one, Harry Potter was another, and so there was a couple of little projects that they just felt like we need to, that's been great, but we need to focus our time on that. That's what I hear. I really don't know why. And then Scooby 3 it just ran out of time and legs, and you know there was other things, other projects that Warner Brothers wanted to do. But your question, and would I be involved in another one if they did? Absolutely. I hope they do 10 more, because the technology you could do now with Scooby, you could probably make Scooby 1 on your phone now with the technology they were using. But now, look, it'd be incredible. James Gunn, who wrote Scooby Doo 1 and 2, he's gone okay. Guardians of the Galaxy, etc. President of DC now, or CEO. So if anyone can make it happen, come on, James. Come on, James. Let's do some more Scooby Doos, and I'd love to be involved. So let's hope. Yeah. I've got a few things in the pipeline. Nothing's set yet. Going to be doing more Comic-Cons, so please come and see me at Comic-Con around the world. I'm hopefully heading over to overseas at the end of this year and next year. And then in and around that, it'll be more shows, because I do wear a few hats in the industry. So in front of the camera, actor, stuntman, voice artist, and then behind the camera, I'm actually a safety supervisor as crew on shows. So I'm actually working on a Netflix production here in Sydney at the moment, which is going to wrap in at the end of August, and then I'm getting married at the end of the year, so I'm going to focus on that. And then next year we'll do some Comic-Cons and other things. So yeah, it's great, mate, and great to be here. Sydney's been fantastic, and thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Neil. I appreciate your time.
No worries. Cheers. Bye, guys.